Kimbani Bani Watherong. Welcome to our beautiful Watherong country. This is Cat, I'm Jodie, your host, and today we'll be cooking with the mob up in Melbourne, so let's cross over to Marlon.
Hi, I'm Marlon, and on today's show we have T and Fred cooking a dry roo curry on an open fire with a delicious coleslaw salad.
Hi, my name's Fred, and we're at Sunshine today to do a cooking show for you, and we're going to cook dry curry and johnny cakes out on the open fire. And me and my sister, and this is T.
Hi.
I was brought up in the bush, and my little sister was brought up in the city, and I've tasted just about most wild tucker in along the Darling River from where I come from, and I don't think my sister has.
No, I haven't tried that much wild food. I grew up here in Melbourne, so I eat like a lot of modern food and I like a lot of ethnic food and stuff like that. Not so much traditional kind of foods and meals. It's quite modern.
I grew up on most wild tucker. Learned to do a lot of fishing because we live on the river. That's our main source of food when the river's running. Nowadays not many people can get out and get roos, so we mainly live on fish.
So what kind of like fish did you catch and how do you go about fishing?
Well, when we go fishing, we don't use fishing rods. We use just the hand line, and there used to be a few fish in the river: the yellow belly, the perch, the yellow belly, the black brim, catfish, and the Murray cod. And since the introduction of European carp, we're only mainly catching perch. Every so often when there's a flood we might catch a cod, but it's very rare these days.
We have what we call the three shields of life. And the first shield is talk and ceremony. Without that talk, you get nowhere, and you've got to celebrate that talk. Right? The second shield is hunting and gathering. You need that talk to hunt and gather, whether it be traditional style or whether it be modern style. We still go to the supermarkets today, that's still hunting and gathering. You know? Learn your hunting and gathering, talk about your hunting and gathering, celebrate your hunting and gathering. When you finish your hunting and gathering, you've got your dance and song, which celebrates the previous two. The thing is, not all people get to dance and celebrate. Sometimes they only get as far as hunting and gathering, that's okay. Not all people get past the first bit, past the talk and ceremony, that's okay too. But for those who get to the third bit and get past that, it's their job to go back and teach the others the first two bits and the third bit and so on. This is what the shields of life are all about. Remember the first shield, talk and ceremony.
Today we're cooking a dry kangaroo curry.
Our hunter-gatherer diet had lots of veggies and low-fat meat. A healthy food plate is like a hunter-gatherer diet. There's a quarter plate starch, which is your rice, your corn, potato bread and pasta. A quarter plate protein, which is your beans, tofu and your meats like roux, emu, fish and chops. And half a plate veggies. All your favourites like tomato, pumpkin, peas, mushies, lettuce, beans, carrots and cucumber.
We have the healthy food plate. We've got our half plate of veggies, quarter plate of starch, which is the potatoes and flour. Then we have our quarter plate of protein, which is the steak. And my brother Fred will be cooking Johnny cakes on the fire.
Just waiting on the nickies, and you might know them as the coals, but I'm waiting for the nickies to come, so because I make the bread on the nickies, and while we're waiting for the fire to burn down, we'll shoot over the tea, and she's going to make the coleslaw.
I've never made it before, but I'm going to give it a go, and hopefully it turns out good. So I'm going to grate the carrot first. Well, I actually learnt how to cook from Huey. I used to watch him a lot when I was younger. I'd watch him and then go straight into the kitchen and cook whatever he'd just made, providing we had the ingredients. I think I started doing that at like 7. So I've been cooking for a long time, and I do quite a lot of cooking at home. But we take in turns with my mum and my 2 brothers. So we just chuck the carrot in the bowl, and I've just used 2 carrots. I'm gonna cut up some spring onions. You have to do everything quite finely.
How's the coleslaw come along there, sis?
Yeah, it's coming along good. Just got a few more things to chuck in. Now I'm gonna cut the cabbage up and just gonna halve it. It has to be done finely. Start from this end. Now I'm just gonna chuck this in here and cut up the other half. Give it a little mix around. I'm gonna dress it with some lemon juice now. You might need maybe both halves. I'm just gonna use a little bit from the other one. And then I'm gonna get some sour cream and mix that through it as well. Just put that in. And then just mix that around. And that's it for the coleslaw. I'm going to put a tea towel over it and put it in the shade because it's quite hot today. And then I'm going to go and see what Fred's doing over at the fire with the coals and how their nickies are going.
So this is my fire pit. We call it our desert dreaming because we like to imagine ourselves being nice and warm in the desert during our cold Melbourne winters. Initially it used to be a hungee pit, but that kind of wasn't really working for us, so we decided to fill it up and make a permanent fire space that really we use a lot. We use it during the week to cook on, or on a Friday night just to have a fire and a glass of wine or something like that. What we did to make this space was we actually scraped off all the grass in the area, and then we laid it down with weed mat. So weed mat you can just buy from a local hardware store, and it's plastic, and so we rolled it out so that hypothetically the grass wouldn't grow through. We left a 2 by 2 metre space where we were going to put the fire, and that was just because plastic obviously melts. And then went to the local garden supplies and found paving sand. We got paving sand really because it was the reddest and we were going for our desert look, but it worked out really well. When we first put it on, it was really, really deep red, but because it's paving sand and when it gets wet, it really solidifies, so it's not blowing away with the wind like we thought it might have. We haven't had to top it up, so it's really hard and really strong. And then what we did is it was just actually stuff that we found around the garden when we moved in, is we kind of tried to frame it with bits of wood around the edges. And when it's all mowed and looking really nice, you get a really beautiful contrast between the red, the brown and the green. So it looks really good. But yeah, we use this space all the time. We cook on it. We've always got some firewood around and kindling from the garden, so it's always here. It's a really nice way to spend your Friday and Saturday night. It's kid friendly, so my 3-year-old nephew lives here, so it's not like they can kind of go out partying or anything, so we just bring the party here, and people are always really grateful to come and just sit around a fire. So it's a really nice space, and we utilise it a lot, it's our desert dreaming.
I think we're nearly ready here, so we'll get ready on the curry.
Yeah.
And usually we do this this curry with kangaroo, but my tribe, we don't eat the black kangaroo, and we don't know if they sell it in the shop. And we usually do with the red dough, but we're just going to use steak today.
Well, I'm just going to dice up the steak. Doesn't matter how big or small. Just any way you like it, pretty much.
I'm going to get the Johnny cakes ready. Today we're going to try and do some with multigrain flour. I haven't tried multigrain flour before. This is the normal flour and this side's the multigrain, and because it's healthier for us. Put it in and it's just a bit of water, so you make the right dough.
Now I'm just going to chuck this steak in this cast iron pot to cook on the fire. So we've got that. I'm just going to chuck some water in there, put the lid on it. Okay, well I'll just put the lid on it and then I'm going to put it in the fire, on the fire to start cooking.
Now I'll get on to the donny cakes. If it's too runny and soft, you can usually just add a bit more flour. My sister, can you spread out that tea towel over there?
On here.
Yeah. This goes straight on. I'm eating the coals up, so it brings it to eat in it, and you'll see it start rising. And that's how you make johnny cakes. Black fella bread on the nickies. Oh, I meant on the coals.
It's been half an hour since we put the meat on. I'm just going to chuck some curry powder in there.
I'm getting the potatoes and onions because the meat's nearly done.
So now I'm going to chop them up. Fred, how am I cutting the onion?
Cut them long ways. Yeah. You ready for them veggies there now?
Yeah, I'm just bringing them over. Let's put the onion and potato in.
Curry there. Just need a bit more water, and I'll chuck some flour in there later on to thicken it up, because this is a dry curry. Just put a bit of flour in it to thicken it up, because it's a dry curry.
Yeah.
Same way with the curry.
Scoop it in. How much should I put in?
That's enough. Just give him a good stir around there. And it'll thicken up in a minute. When the veggies cook, it will thicken up. You right over there, sis?
Yeah,
There you go.
how's it going over there?
Yeah, it's coming on good.
Nearly finished. It's good.
Okay, we'll serve him up, eh? Yeah, that's enough for me. Yeah, how about we grab one for Leah?
Yeah,
There's enough there.
I will. Hey Leah, come and have a feed. It's all cooked now.
Hey, what are you guys cooking?
Got some dry.
Dry curry. Some dry curry and Johnny cakes. So
Lovely.
if you'd want a taste.
Thank you. What's in it?
Just potatoes, onion, beef steak, and curry. A little bit of flour.
If we'd had some kangaroo, it would have been kangaroo.
Mmm. Oh, that's lovely. You can taste the fire. And who made the Johnny cakes?
Fred did.
You? Can I have some coleslaw as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yum. Do you guys make this at home?
No,
Yeah.
it's the first time I'm making it.
Is it? Mm-hmm. It's very good. You make it at home?
Make it at home in the bush, yeah, all the time.
for your kids.